welcome to the Technical Staff and Theatre Workers podcast. It's the podcast in which I talk to people who work backstage in the technical theatre industry about how they got in, their experiences, and any advice they can give to anyone getting in. This is episode 1 of season 4. New season is here. Really enjoyed talking to the people in this season as well as the people in the last 3 seasons. The numbers are going epic. The numbers are getting really, really high. So really love talking to these people, and you all seem to enjoy it too. So thank you so much for the continued downloads, the continued listens. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone who is interested in theatre that you know, and anyone who's not interested in theatre, because it might make them interested in theatre. So without further ado, let's get on to our first guest of season 4. I'm here with my guest at this time. If you'd like to introduce yourself and tell me what your current job title is.
Hi, I'm Izzie and I am an LX Dep. I work across 3 shows in the West End: Mean Girls, Operation Mincemeat and Wicked.
Excellent. And how did you get into theatre?
Well, I actually started working in film and TV production.
Oh, excellent.
And everybody in film and TV production says you should work in theatre. Theatre's better. And everybody in theatre
says you should work in TV.
You should work in film and TV. So yeah, that's where I started. I did my degree in film and TV production. And I'm sure you're going to touch on this, but you do not need a degree in theatre to do theatre.
No.
But yeah, that's where I started. I did film and TV production, and then got a place at Mountview to do their MA performance course in musical theatre.
Excellent.
Always wanted to do theatre, always wanted to perform, and just took the opportunity, moved to London because I was working up north in TV. And then after that year was finished, I went back to TV and kind of realised that I just couldn't balance TV life with the auditions that I was wanting to do and everything like that. So I thought, lifestyle change.
Okay.
So I decided to retrain and do lighting. I say retrain, I actually volunteered. That was my main way in.
That's the best way of training.
Yeah, started off, got in touch with a bunch of Amdram companies in London, did a few days on those, just shadowing the LX op, learning as much as I could. And then, I got my first job from that, really. So volunteering was my way.
Excellent. So you say that having a degree in theatre, you don't really need a degree to get into theatre.
Yeah.
What about TV and film? Do you think it's better to have the degree to get into that, or do you think it's the same?
Honestly, the exact same.
It's the same.
If anything, in film and TV, they kind of prefer you not to have a degree. When I graduated, I was one of the few people that sort of went straight into work, and it was purely because I'd done a lot in my holidays and I'd put myself out there. So the degree itself, as much as it's useful to kind of know your way around things, and I was also a COVID degreeer, so a lot of the practical was cancelled. But I would say it's definitely not necessary at all.
Excellent. What was your first job? Paid job in theatre? I
was very lucky. My first paid job in theatre was in the West End. So my first job was The Little Big Things, which was on at Soho Place.
Yeah.
Nearly this time last year now. So I've nearly been in theatre for a year, which is crazy to me.
Excellent.
I came straight out of volunteering, was working in TV for a little bit, and saw the job ad on Facebook.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Of course, because you performed before, didn't you? You did... You've done performing?
Yeah, I've done performing. I've never done any professional performing.
Right.
When I was in film and TV, I did presenting. That was my kind of outlet. I did the official music charts on BBC Radio 1, presented those in 2022. And then a couple of little bits for CBBS as well. But theatre's definitely where my heart is.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. And any other jobs? Did you just go from Little Big Things to Wicked to...
No, so I went from Little Big Things and didn't have anything lined up. Actually interviewed for a full-time position at Wicked and didn't get it.
Right.
Which is a great way into depping.
Yes.
They offered me a dep position as an alternative. And I was doing that alongside working. I did a job share on Red Pitch, which was the next thing that went into Soho Place. That was a play.
Right.
And that's what took me from follow spotting to desk-opping, because they very kindly showed me the ropes. And then after that, I did full-time on Heathers in Soho Place for a little while.
Lovely.
And whilst I was on Heathers, I was still depping at Wicked. It was a classic 8 days a week kind of job, 12 days a week. It felt like. And from then I got the job at Mincemeat from the person who got the job at Wicked.
Oh, right, okay.
Actually put me forward to Operation Mincemeat.
It's very incestuous.
Which, worked out well.
Absolutely.
And Mean Girls I picked up as well. That was my most recent one I picked up.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Soho Place is a nice theatre. It's new,
it's
isn't
lovely,
it? It's a brand new theatre.
Completely accessible, beautiful theatre.
Yeah, I only went there for the first time a few weeks ago. So, since you got into theatre, not just theatre, into television as well, have you come across any issues within the industries? It's an entertainment industry, it's all part of the same umbrella. Yep. Have you had any issues getting jobs, people holding you back, any of that kind of thing, from both a performance and a back technical side at all?
Yeah, so there's always that thing in this industry of you're never in a contract forever.
Yes.
Especially with DEP work, I'm very lucky, and kind of part of my plan in the background was to get on a show that is quite consistent, like Wicked, for example. Something that's hopefully not going anywhere anytime soon. So that was sort of one thing that I was trying to set up for myself. But there's always challenges when you finish one contract and you're waiting for the next one.
Yes.
It's almost like starting again, really. I actually got a few of my jobs from handing in my CV at the stage door. Classic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah, when you are in those ruts, it can definitely be helpful to put yourself out there. But so much of it is about who you know.
There is a lot of who you know. There's got to be a lot of networking, especially social media networking these days as well. Yes. So what are the pros and cons of working in the industry?
I'd say one of the main pros is, whilst everybody in theatre is, of course, professional and cares a lot about what they do, there's a level of friendship involved that I find with my colleagues. Yeah. I'd say a huge pro is that I feel like I can come to work and completely be myself. One thing I did find in film and TV is that there's an element of people-pleasing sometimes.
Right, yeah.
And whilst there is very much a stereotypical job hierarchy in theatre, let's say, you do have bosses and things like that, there's just a level of comfort that's you just feel really welcome every time you walk in the building.
So the approachability.
100%, yeah. That's one of the main pros. For me as well, the lifestyle. I love having my daytimes free. Yeah. Some people might hate it and want the opposite and want their evenings.
Absolutely.
Which kind of brings me on to the con, actually, because socially,
yes,
a lot of people we know, a lot of our friends have their 9-to-5s, and sometimes you miss out
yes, absolutely.
on things. So yeah, that side of things, and also the fact that it's one day off a week. But
yes, especially with the, where we currently are in November, we're coming up to the Christmas season, and of course that's a very busy season for theatre, so you get less time off than most people do. Yeah, but that's just the way it's the way it is.
Weirdly works the other way around for a DEP sometimes, because last year I worked completely over Christmas. I had basically Christmas Day off, and my family are all up north, so it's kind of hectic at that time of year in terms of getting home for Christmas. Yeah. But this year there's a lot of West End theatres that have embargoes on holiday dates that they can take.
Yes, so the full-time staff can't take holiday. Staff.
And obviously because my job is covering people who are off, I've ended up with a quiet Christmas, which is quite nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
So sometimes it works both ways. But yeah, when you're full-time on something like I was last year on the little big things, no Christmas.
no Christmas, but it's all right. We like it.
We love it.
What would you say is a common misconception of anybody who's trying to get in the industry? So what do they think it is that it actually isn't?
I think part of it is that professionalism aspect. Of course, everybody cares so much and wants to be here and works really, really hard. But I think a lot of people would come into theatre and put pressure on themselves to impress or to network. And those things are super, super important, don't get me wrong. But most people, 9 out of 10 people in the building, just want to meet you for who you are.
Yes, absolutely.
And I got my first job in theatre because, well, I didn't have much experience other than the people I'd been watching volunteering, and they actually said to me that they hired me purely because they thought I'd get on well with the other girl who worked there currently.
Yeah, that's a really good trait to have.
Yeah, a lot of people probably think that there's a much lengthier process of getting in terms of, doing a degree or things like that. But so much of it is about who you are and what you can bring to a team.
Yes, also there's a thing, going back to sort of not being yourself, you be yourself around people, because there's an over-familiarity aspect that can happen where you can sit in a room with people who've been working together for so long, and you can see they have banter and they have a laugh, and you think, well, I want some of that. But there's a lot of work gone into it before you get to that point. Yeah. So try not to be so over-familiar and go, well, I'm going to include myself in this.
Absolutely.
Because that can alienate you a little.
Yeah, and that's one thing I definitely find as a DEP, because there's such a different dynamic at every show. Yeah. And you never know what people are going to be like. You don't know what's gone on in their lives since you were last there. So sometimes you can walk into a show and everyone's like, oh my gosh, Izzie, so nice to see you. And sometimes they're drained. Yeah, and you just have to be flexible in what the situation's going to be when you're arriving, and it's really nice to feel like a breath of fresh air sometimes for people.
Yes, yeah. Just because we've just gone through cast change as well, and sometimes cast changes can be crushing. You're in all the time. We're doing 60, 70 hours a week. So if somebody comes in, it's like, hey, you can be a little bit.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. What advice would you give to anybody who is trying to get in?
Very stereotypical, be yourself.
Yes, that's a good one.
I will absolutely say that forever because it's so important, and it's definitely one of the main reasons why I got into it. Don't feel the pressure to not apply for something just because you think you're not ready. So many people in this industry will be happy to give somebody a chance if they seem hardworking and they seem like a good fit for the team. Of course, there's some jobs out there that need experience, and volunteering and things like that are great places to go and get it. But have trust in yourself, because if you think that you're right for a job and you're passionate about theatre, that's all you need to show.
Yes, and hand CVs in at stage door.
Hand CVs in at stage door, because you might get a job out of it.
There's always a chance.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's everything I've got to you. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Hey, big thank you to Izzie for coming in, talking to me on that one. I really enjoyed that one. It's great to hear from somebody who's not been in the technical side of theatre for too long, but how they came into that side of theatre from a more of a performing side, and of course a TV side. And Izzie's done a lot of done TV and also radio. So it was great to chat to her. She's got great enthusiasm. Really liked it. Thank you so much for listening to this. Thank you so much for downloading it. It's been really great. Really loving it so far, and long may it continue. Thank you to all the guests that have been on, and I shall see you all next week.